guys, welcome to the channel. Happy bee day! I know there's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm not going fishing for it. Anyway, in today's project I'm making a bee queen. This caused me to dive into a bee fact rabbit hole when doing research for this project, so let me know if you want to subscribe to my new bee facts channel. Here's one for free. Bee queens do have wings, despite a fairly common belief that they do not. Probably because they rarely leave the hive, and this leads some folks to believe that they don't. Anyway, let's get back to the project at hand. Once I finished the base, I opted for the oval eyes instead of the round ones that I usually use. I happen to have a lot of them, and I mean, why not use them? Plus they have the cute little catch lights on them. I liked the hair of my previous penny doll so much that I just had to do it again. You can see her in one of my previous videos, and I will have the link in the description below. As you can see here, I just went through row by row until I got the dimensions I wanted. Okay, so for the collar I was going for a Tudor-esque sort of 14 to 1500s look for this project. This is by no means historically accurate. I'm not really sure how bee queens actually dressed at the time. It's simply a nod to the 16th century. So instead of the full-on ruff with lots of layers, I opted for a Medici collar. I think that's how you say it, which is a less bulky type of ruff. This type of ruff is lace-edged and worn high in the back, and then ends in a sort of low décolletage, or rather open at the front of the neck area. I worked the inner skirt as usual. The only difference is that I changed colour every new round until I reached the bottom. So basically from the waist all the way down to her toes. For the outer skirt, I worked in rows using the double crochet stitch, and I also left the center open so as to get that middle sort of V shape. As for the sleeves, I just made a shallow semicircle similar to the collar, but with fewer stitches. The purpose of this was to create the look of a bell sleeve. I really should have done this when I did the arms, but hindsight is 2020. Plus I needed to see if the look I was aiming for would work out. So I proceeded as normal, and when I was finished with the skirt layers, it turns out that the body became bottom heavy, so I opted to add the bell sleeves to rebalance the look of the whole project. For the crown, I cut the exact length of wire needed for the circumference. I then used some floral tape to wrap and bind the wire so that it wouldn't fall apart when I was crocheting. Following that, I simply proceeded to crochet around the ring to create the crown. Interesting bee fact number 2. The bee queen will only fly on 2 specific occasions. One is the mating flight, which will only happen once in her lifetime, and of course 2, to swarm when they've run out of space in the hive and need to go and find a bigger space. Oh my god, no one wants to know this. I grabbed a tiny bee pendant charm I had in my stash and made a simple pendant from it. Nothing really fancy here, just thought I'd mention it. So I wanted to have little worker bees to surround my queen, so I found these mini wooden bees. They're so cute. They came with self-adhesive glue dots, which I removed and then replaced with blank pin backs. To do this, I used UV resin, attached the blank to the bee and cured it under the UV lamp. At first I was going to crochet her wings, but then I was browsing Amazon and came across this pack of dragonfly wings. I think they're meant to be used for earrings because they have holes in them, and it pretty much said so in the listing. They are ridiculously flimsy, so I used 2 of them and sewed them on top of each other, but slightly offset. Unfortunately, this left unsightly stitches, so I used another bee charm and attached that in the middle so I could hide the stitches. No one will ever know. I then made the antennae and placed some pipe cleaners in both of them. This step is absolutely not necessary and could have been skipped, but I just wanted to have this structure so that I could bend and shape the antennae as needed. So with the antennae and all the accessories completed, it's time to put everything together. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and even consider subscribing if you like the content I create. Don't forget to hit that bell button to be notified when I upload a new video, and please enjoy the beauty shots. See you in the next one. Bye.